There was a girl in Nazareth who never imagined that one ordinary morning would change not just her life, but the destiny of humanity forever. Her name was Mary, and she was just 14 years old when it happened. She lived in a small stone house with her parents, helping her mother grind wheat, fetch water from the well, and weave cloth on the wooden loom that sat in the corner of their home. She was engaged to Joseph, a kind carpenter who smelled of cedar and olive wood, and she dreamed simple dreams of a quiet life filled with children, laughter, and the warmth of a loving home. But that morning, everything shifted. Mary was alone in her room, praying as she always did before the sun fully rose. The light was soft and golden, filtering through the small window, and the air was still. Then suddenly the room filled with a presence so powerful, so overwhelming, that she fell to her knees. Before her stood a being of pure light, wings folded, eyes filled with an ancient kindness that made her heart both tremble and calm at the same time. The angel spoke her name, not loudly, but with a certainty that echoed in her soul. He told her she had been chosen to carry the Son of God, chosen to bring hope into a broken world, chosen to be the mother of the Messiah. Mary's hands shook. She was just a girl, a nobody from a forgotten town. How could this be? How could God choose her? She thought of Joseph, of her family, of the shame this would bring, unmarried and pregnant. The whispers, the judgment, the stones that could be thrown. But then the angel said something that would stay with her forever. He said that nothing is impossible with God, and in that moment, Mary made a choice that would ripple through eternity. She said yes, not because she understood, not because she was ready, but because she trusted. She trusted a love greater than her fear. Months passed. Her belly grew. Joseph stood by her, though the questions haunted him at night. They traveled to Bethlehem for the census, the roads dusty and long, Mary's back aching with every step. When they arrived, there was no room, no place for the King of Kings to be born, except a stable that smelled of animals and hay. And there, in the most humble place imaginable, Mary brought her son into the world. She held him close. This tiny baby who cried like any other, whose fingers curled around hers, whose eyes searched for hers in the darkness. She wrapped him in strips of cloth and laid him in a manger, and she wept. Not from sadness, but from the overwhelming weight of love and purpose. Shepherds came that night, breathless and wild-eyed, saying angels had filled the sky with songs of glory. Wise men from the east would come later, bringing gifts fit for a king. But in that moment, it was just Mary and her son, and the miracle of a love so divine it chose to become human. Years went by. Mary watched her boy grow. She watched him laugh, stumble, learn to work wood beside Joseph. She told him stories under the stars, taught him prayers, kissed his scraped knees. But she also saw something in his eyes, a knowing, a purpose that went beyond her understanding. When Jesus began his ministry, Mary followed from a distance. She watched him heal the sick, give sight to the blind, feed thousands with just a few loaves and fish. She heard the crowds call him teacher, prophet, savior, and she remembered the angel's words. She remembered her yes, but nothing prepared her for the end. She stood at the foot of the cross, her son hanging above her, bleeding and broken. The crowd jeered. Soldiers gambled for his clothes. And Mary, the girl who had said yes to carrying God's son, now had to say yes to letting him go. Her heart shattered into 1,000 pieces. She wanted to climb up, pull the nails out herself, take his pain into her own body. But she couldn't. All she could do was stand there, a mother watching her child die. Jesus looked down at her, his eyes full of love even through the agony. He spoke, his voice weak but clear, asking his beloved disciple to care for her as a son. And then he was gone. 3 days later, everything changed again. The tomb was empty. Death could not hold him. Mary saw her son again, not as a broken man, but as the risen Lord, and she understood. Her yes all those years ago had been the beginning of the greatest love story ever told, a story of sacrifice, redemption, and hope. You know, at English Story Cafe, we believe every story has the power to change us. And Mary's story reminds us that sometimes the most extraordinary things begin with a simple yes. A yes to faith when everything feels uncertain. A yes to love when fear screams louder. A yes to purpose even when the path is unclear. Mary wasn't perfect. She was human. She doubted. She grieved. She struggled. But she trusted. And her trust became the doorway through which God entered our world. Today, millions call her blessed. They pray through her, light candles in her name, carry her image close to their hearts. But perhaps the most beautiful thing about Mary is this. She never forgot what it felt like to be afraid, to be uncertain, to be just a girl from Nazareth who said yes when it made no sense. And maybe that's why her story still matters, because it tells us that God doesn't need our perfection. He needs our willingness. He needs our yes. And when we give it, even trembling, even afraid, miracles can happen. Lives can change. Hope can be born in the most unlikely places. Mary's story is a reminder that the divine often comes wrapped in the ordinary. That love is both a gift and a sacrifice. That saying yes to something greater than ourselves might cost us everything, but it will also give us more than we ever imagined. So wherever you are today, whatever you're facing, remember the girl from Nazareth. Remember her courage. Remember her yes, and know that your story, just like hers, has the power to carry light into darkness.